Okay, today we're going to do a little project with an Amcrest HD1080 Lite. It's a video security system, AMDVTENL8. This is something I bought a while back. It's been a pretty good security system. I haven't had too many problems with it or anything. It was pretty easy to set up. It seems like a pretty robust machine. I've had a small hard drive that I had put in there, and so what I want to do today is actually pull out this small hard drive and put a little bit bigger one. The one that's in there is like a 120, and I'm going to be putting a 320. I have a little laptop hard drive that I'll be putting in there. So first things first, we need to open up the unit. It's a nice looking unit. The only complaint maybe I have about this is the fan is a little loud, and I might need to swap out that fan sometime, but for now we're just going to live with it. So there's 4 screws. We got 1 on each side, and there's 2 in the back, and I believe that's all there is. So let's pull those out first and we'll see what happens. I just want to be careful not to scratch the front. There we go. And there you go. Okay, top's off. So this one's got a 160 gig in there. Okay, so it's this. Well, I guess the one I'm putting in there will be twice as big. These are pretty straightforward. If you were to buy this thing new, most of them don't come with a hard drive in them, I believe. And I had some notebook drives left over, so that's why I'm putting these in here, because I already had them. I actually had a 500 gig drive, and I had a Harbor Freight system, the Bunker Hill system, which I was actually pretty pleased with until I had a lightning strike and kind of blew the whole thing out. And I think the hard drive was actually failing much before the lightning struck, but that's not part of this story. So this is the Amcrest, and so right now I'm going to take out this old drive that I put in when I first got it and put in a little bit bigger drive. I've got a couple little things associated with this security system that I'm just updating, and we'll just hit those as we go through. So I've disconnected the 2. It's a SATA drive, and it's got the power and the data. Here's the data, here's the power. All right, and the board's kind of interesting. It's like a little computer. I guess that's your processor, and then all the other components go with that. And just to show you what this machine's about, it's got 8. This has 8 video inputs. It's got audio in and audio out. It's 1 HDMI. It's got the network connection, 1 USB. It has a VGA connector. I've had some problems with that. I was trying to hook up a VGA monitor. Didn't have a lot of success with that, and actually I had to get a replacement because the first one I got of these units the VGA didn't appear to be working. And it has I'm not sure what that is. That's for some kind of, I think that's for your PTZ, I guess what they call that, pan, tilt, zoom lenses. You can power that through this little connector here, and I haven't used that, so I don't know anything about that. And then of course you've got your power connector here. So let's go ahead, and so I've got this thing, I think I got screwed in on the back, which is correct. And I think I only used, in this case, I only used 2 connection points. There we go. And what I did, and if you have a big hard drive, you might do this differently, but what I did, I used these standoffs here that you would use on a motherboard. And sometimes it's kind of hard to find them that fit these drives, because they've got, like, I don't know how many different thread patterns and thread counts on these little connectors or standoffs. So sometimes that's easier said than done, but I have a lot of old machines that I've taken these out of, so I just happen to have all the pieces that fit. So I'm going to take those out of this older drive. All right, so I'm just going to set this to one side. I'll put that in something else down the road. And I've got this Toshiba. Oh, I need to take off. It's still got the mount for the laptop, so I need to do this real quick. All right, so this is a Toshiba 320. One of the things when I have a lot of old hard drives sitting around, sometimes what I do is I always mark the size of them, because it's not always obvious on these different manufacturers what the size is. And there's usually a date code on these as well, but on Toshiba, I wasn't able to locate it very easily, so there's some sort of a deciphering. Oh, here's got the date code is J9100. So I'm sure you can look that up and it'll tell you what that is. I'm going to just do a wild guess and say it's 2009. I have no idea. So whatever it is, it's not brand new by any means. So it's 2018, and this is a Toshiba 320 gigabyte hard drive. So you can tell right there it's probably obviously a few years old. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put those standoffs in there. I just like having a little space between the bottom of the case and the hard drive. So we'll just screw those in. All right, so the screw's already in this one a little bit, if you can see that. So I'm just going to use that to go ahead and set this in here. So like I said, I only use 2 connection points. And I got to kind of see how I had this. So we'll go ahead and get the power connected. Snap. And the data. Snap. There it is. There you go. And now, for some reason, oh, that's probably why. So it's kind of nice the way they have this set up. You can go ahead, if you had a full-size hard drive, you would put you could start your screws in there, and it's kind of got standoffs already on there. If you can see that or not, these right here. So it actually gives you like a, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch up, which is probably plenty for ventilation, plus it's got holes in the bottom. So I don't think that's a problem. I can go ahead and slip that screw in there, because it's going to be sitting like this, so it's not like I have to have a death grip on it. It's going to be like it's going to be hanging upside down or something, so it should just hang. There we go. And there you go. So like I said, 2 screws will be plenty for something like this, because it's just sitting here like this anyway. If you had it hanging upside down or mounted on the wall or something, you might want to have all 4 screws in there, but it's just going to be sitting just like this. So I think down the road, one thing I don't like about this unit, like I mentioned, was this fan is kind of noisy. I could see maybe buying a different fan and just sticking it in there. I think that'd be a worthwhile investment. It's just a simple case fan, and it's got that little connector right there, so it'd be real easy to swap that out. It has another connector there. It looks like another fan. I'd have to look into it before I did it, but there's another connector next to it. It could be a speed fan. Hard to say. It could be a USB header too. I'm not really sure. It kind of looks like this USB header here a little bit. I'd have to get a little closer and check it out, but there is another connector on there. So we'll go ahead and, so the hard drive's in there now. So when we start it up, we will have to tell the hard drive to reformat that. So whatever's, there's probably a Windows install would be my guess if it came off a laptop. One thing about your Windows installs on all your laptops and computers you've owned in the past, you own that license. So if you want to reinstall that particular license number on another computer, you're totally okay to do that. The problem is going to be if you didn't save your little code that they give you. Sometimes it's stuck to the bottom of the laptop. I've kind of learned to either take a picture of that or write it down or whatever, because sometimes those numbers disappear over time, and that's for your Windows product code, I guess they call it. But we're not doing that right now. So this has its own operating system. I'm assuming this operating system sits on their chip somehow. All right, so this is pretty much it. So as far as ventilation, this is the side that has the fan on it. This is just an open side on this, and there's little ventilation. There's plenty of ventilation on this thing. These are all slits here. You've got plenty of ventilation down here. So it's not like this thing's going to get too hot, but I guess depending on where you have it mounted. The front doesn't tell you too much, but it does have a USB port. It comes with a mouse, so you could either connect it here or connect it back here if you wanted. And then there's some displays as far as hard drive activity, network activity, and the power indicator as well. So it's pretty much you set it and forget it and hook it up to your network. You can monitor from another machine, or what I'm going to be doing, well, I'm going to be doing that as well, but I also have a monitor here in my studio that I keep on all the time, because once I'm down here in my studio, I can't hear or see anything that's going on outside. So sometimes it's handy to have a monitor always on for your security system. In my case, just to see if somebody's coming to the front door and I need to answer it. So we're going to go ahead, and I just want to show you how to put the hard drive in. It's very easy. Anybody can do it. So if you get one of these, don't worry about putting a hard drive in. It's a simple matter of connecting the connectors and putting it in. It's a SATA connector, so if you're not familiar with those, they're simpler to use than the old school IDE type connectors with the mini pins on them. These have just, they slip right in. They're keyed a certain way, so you can't mess it up. So the SATA connectors are very nice to work with. Okay, well, this is it for this part of this project. Okay, so now that we've got our hard drive in the Amcrest unit, we can go ahead and we need to format that particular drive. So when you get the unit running and hooked up so you can see it in the monitor, you want to right click, not left click, but you want to right click with your mouse. That'll pull up this little screen here. You're going to go down to the bottom and hit main menu. Okay, and as you see, there's a lot of choices here, and this is where you make your decision as far as what kind of operation you're going to be doing. But for this exercise, you need to click on storage, which is down here, the very bottom. All right, that's going to pull up all the drives that are connected to your machine here. It shows like, let me get to see if I can unhighlight that, but it shows like that there would be possibly several drives on your device. This particular unit, as far as I'm aware, can only take one drive at a time, but you want to click on the new drive you just put in there, and it's a SATA drive, and it's the one that's going to have, this was the 320 gigabyte drive. It shows up on here as 300 or 298 gigabytes. But since it's the only drive, I know that's the one I want. So I'm going to click on the little box here to get the check mark in the right place. All right. Then you're going to come down the bottom here and hit format. I'll go ahead and click that. Okay. Are you sure you want to format the selected device? Okay. Now at this point, since I already did this, I don't want to do it again, but you would just click OK. It's going to do that, and you're going to click apply. And what it's going to do is ask you to reboot the machine at that point, which is no big deal. So you're just going to want to go ahead and follow the prompts and just answer affirmative to the questions, whether it will ask you to reboot or whatever. It'll go through that, reformat the hard drive, and then reboot the machine. And basically it's ready to go at that point. And then if you're ever ready to upgrade to a bigger drive at some point, which you might want to do, you can do the same exercise we just did. Take out the old hard drive. You don't have to do anything special other than turn it off and take the cover off. Put the new hard drive in. Go back, install everything, put your cameras in place, and go through this formatting operation. And that's really about it. Okay, I hope that was helpful to some people. If you do have any questions on these units, please let me know. I just got this, and I'm learning myself as far as how to actually use some of the features on this. So I'm going to be trying to post some things as I learn them myself. Okay, thank you.